Good morning. I'm Sam Zutler. This morning I want to share with you a great poem by my favorite author, Mary Oliver. And the name of the poem is The Journey. And in the introduction to the poem, I want to read you what Mary Oliver says about the poem. It is a mirror in which you can see a reflection of your own story. It captures that moment when you dare to take your heart in your hands and walk through an invisible wall into your new life. And so indeed, as I look back upon it now, this poem really transcribed everything that and affected everything that happened in my life. So let me read the first half of the poem to you. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began through the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles, mend my life. Each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with his stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was 1946. I was a young second lieutenant assigned to a Fort Shafter on Oahu, Hawaii. It was my privilege and honor to be able to work with 140 young women. They were volunteers working for an organization called the WARDS, Women Air Raid Defense. One of the women was Geneva Bartlett from Berkeley, California, and she and I developed a relationship. After 6 months, we decided that we wanted to get married, and we did. We got married. This was a profoundly serious decision for a young bar mitzvah Jewish boy from an Orthodox Jewish family in Brooklyn. It was, in fact, a rejection of the sacred rules of Judaism that says that there are strict rules why you cannot marry a non-Jew, or a shiksa it was called. 74 years later, I know how important that decision was in completely changing the course of my life. Instead of returning to New York and the scripted version of my life, I took advantage of the GI Bill, enrolled in UC Berkeley, and got my degree in industrial engineering. Those early days were challenging with a new baby, a new life, a new job, and starting on a starting salary. And so there were times when I questioned my decision about my new life, and as I became impatient about our future. But Mary Oliver comes back with the wisdom that I felt was so profound. So let me read the last half of the poem. It was already late enough and a wild night and the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. And this was indeed so profound for me, because it affirmed the almost bearing truth of all, that no one else can walk your journey for you, for me. It was up to me to follow my own heart and to be happy with my life. As it turns out, I am very happy. Thank you, and see you soon. Goodbye.